Oh, a few more additional thoughts, because I just got reminded by this elegant teleporter. There's two maps we still don't know about. We've only been to 4 maps in Endwalker. There's 2 we're missing. I have no idea what they are. One of them is going to be those floating islands that they've shown in the promotional that they don't want to give too much details about. I think another might be Corvus, which is Graha's homeland, specifically because of their relation with Allegan technology. I think that's going to be important. Like, you don't just drop that Fandaniel is Ammon, a very important Allegan mage, and have all this Allegan technology bring us to the moon and everything. You don't dump us with all this Allegan stuff if the Allegans aren't going to be important. And Corvus is all about those Allegans, so I think we're going to go to Corvus. I don't remember what the Garleans renamed it, but I think we're going there. Maybe. Maybe I just want to see Graha's homeland. Let's go. I'd forgotten how cold it was here in Garlemald, a testament to the Loporit's ingenuity that I felt no such discomfort on the moon. Gods, I can scarcely believe we went to the moon and back, but we'll have time to reflect on that later. Right now, we need to head back to Camp Broken Glass and deliver a thoroughly detailed report to Lucia. Lucia, you're not gonna believe this. I'd like very much to know how everyone is getting on here as well. They'd only just begun to treat the tempered prisoners when we left. Well, I hope Julius is okay. I share your curiosity, but warning our allies of the final days is of greater importance. I speak not only of the contingent, of course. The heads of state of every nation must know what we have learned. We know not when or where or in what manner the final days will begin to manifest, and so we must see to it that everyone is prepared. Agreed. Though we may wish to stress the importance of discretion, lest the public be sent into a panic. Not that anyone in a position of responsibility should need to be told as much, but it bears repeating. Anyway, first things first, back to Camp Broken Glass. It's good to see you all again. No worse for your lunar adventure, I hope. We've done what we can for now, and believe me, we intend to tell you all about it. But before we do, might you tell us what's become of Garlemald in our absence? We succeeded in subduing the tempered inside the Tower of Babel. We took many alive, but combined with those who are already in our custody, the number requiring care has grown exponentially. The inclement conditions here have made it difficult, if not impossible, to treat them all here, so we have petitioned the aid of the allied nations. Some are, understandably, hesitant to proffer assistance, particularly those that were but recently subject to imperial occupation. That said, several others have agreed to grant them refuge for treatment. With the assistance of your fellow scions, we endeavor to see them safely transported and subsequently cured of their tempering. Will all the tempered be relocated? Not all, no. We have sufficient shelter to attend to those whose treatment has begun, and enough healers have volunteered to remain until their patients have recovered. Julius is one such patient, though he is not yet fit to receive visitors. Truth be told, it was a miracle he and those in his company were not harmed in the chaos. If not for Alphino and Alice's timely assistance, I dare say none of them would be with us today. In light of recent developments, have the Alliance leaders come to any decisions regarding Garlemald? Given the tremendous ramifications of what has happened here, it will take time to determine what must be done. In the meantime, they intend to work with the Eastern Alliance to keep a close watch over the provinces. We have other news to share. Shortly after Anima was defeated, we received reports that each and every tower has vanished. For a mercy, the process was apparently not quite as violent as that you experienced in Thavnair. Those who were trapped within them have been rescued and are receiving treatment. To hasten this endeavor, the beast tribes have received instruction in the magics needed to cure tempering. Master Matoya is no doubt thrilled the Mother Porxie affords her so many visitors. Yes, we are grateful for her ongoing efforts, as well of those of our comrades near and far. As for the contingent, several of our members have been granted leave to return to their homelands after the transfer of Tempered has been completed. Lucia and I will remain, along with a small force to continue offering aid to those here in Garlemald. The Empire may be no more, but there are yet those who call these lands home. I believe that accounts for recent events here. So, what of the moon and the Telephoroi? Xeno's just kinda still running amok, but don't worry about that. Let me tell you about Zodiark. The final days. Gods, I prayed your victory would mark the end of our troubles. There is still much we do not know, but the Alliance leaders must be told. Would you be willing to contact them in our stead? Yes, of course. I will send word forthwith. We'll also release your fellow Scions from their present duties, that they may return to Sharlayan. Your energies are better spent finding a means to avert the coming apocalypse. Speaking of your fellow Scions, you will be happy to hear that Mistress Krile, though she is still on the mend, has been moved to the Baldessian Annex and given into Tataru's care. Thank you. I look forward to seeing them both upon our return. Let us be on our way, then. One last thing, if I may. After your confrontation with Zodiark, you said Xenos took his leave, and in all likelihood, he has returned here to Garlemald. I have a mind to dispatch scouts and try to ascertain his whereabouts, but first wish to ask if you believe there is merit in doing so. Mayhap you're right. But I suppose if anyone is to hunt him down, it must be you. Who else could even hope to bring low that monster? Pray forget I entertained the notion. While on the subject of Xenos, the 10th Legion has made an official proclamation. They denounce the Crown Prince and condemn his role in the Empire's downfall. His very title has become a source of shame among his former subjects, and its continued use serves only to hinder relations with foreign nations. For this reason, he has been declared as Xenos Viator Galvis, outcast and enemy of Garlemald. Huh. Okay. Xenos Viator Galvis. I'll have to get used to that. Fandaniel is no more, I hope, and now his own people turn against him. It seems he's not but his bloodlust to keep him company. Better than an army to see it sated, at any rate. I will not keep you longer. I pray you safe passage back to Sharlayan. We're gonna go back to Sharlayan and it's gonna be on fire. Your findings will be relayed to the Alliance leaders word for word, and should we spy anything out of the ordinary here in Garlemald, all should be informed of at once. Back to Sharlayan I go! Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Oh, it's so good to see you, and free from chilblains, I take it. You'll be pleased to know everything's been kept in order since you've been away. I even brought a few useful knickknacks with me from back home. But no sooner had they arrived than I received word of Krile in poor health. And you on the moon! If you meant to give me a fright, you succeeded. Welcome back, Mana. We were so terribly worried about you. Though it is plain I have caused my own fair share of worry, and for that I must apologize. Hythland called to me that day when you entered the Tower of Babel. Her pleas were faint but desperate, and I knew at once she required a vessel to carry out her will. What came after feels like a dream barely remembered, my body flowing through the life stream toward Garlemald? Did you use flow? When I regained consciousness, I was all aches and frostbite, exhausted of ether. So exhausted, in fact, I could only laugh, for it was in that moment I understood Raha's weariness from the Tower of Zot. Would that I could laugh at a time like this. Though we prevented Zodiark from being unleashed upon the world, I am curious to know what else took place on the moon. Perhaps we should wait for the others to join us before you give your account. Let us reconvene in the main hall once they've arrived. With Urianger on the moon, we got one less elf in the ranks. Sorry to have kept you all waiting. Not at all. We understand you've been quite busy. Will Urianger be joining us? Duty keeps him away, I'm afraid, though Mana can explain why better than I. Okay, so we were on the moon, and there were a bunch of little rabbits there, and they were very, very cute, and they wanted Urianger to lie, and he was like, man, I lie so much, why did these rabbits know I could lie? And so he was like, I think it's a good idea if I help these rabbits on the moon, so he stayed behind, and he wished his farewells, and he said, I'm gonna help the rabbits goodbye. The final days has befell Amarat. And we are to escape via the moon? What of the source and its reflections? I have no intention of standing by while the world falls to ruin. So, how do we stop this? Unfortunately, we have no answers at present. If the celestial currents have grown stagnant, as was the case in the time of Amarat, the solution would be to alter the flow of ether throughout the entirety of the star. The ancients accomplished this by summoning Zodiark, sacrificing half the star's population in the doing, but it should go without saying that such a sacrifice must not, cannot, be repeated. Which leaves us with the daunting task of identifying the underlying catalyst for the final days, a feat which even the Amaratians could not accomplish. Unfortunately, we found no clues in Mare Lamatorum. There is still much we do not know about the catastrophe itself, let alone what might have caused it. The final days were marked by the corruption of the Amaratians' creation magics, but we command no such power, which invites the question, what havoc is in store for us? If we knew that much, perhaps we could draw some parallel with the events of the past, and thereby form some semblance of a plan. Perhaps we should start with the Forum then. Having worked with the Loperites in secret all this time, there is surely more they can tell us. Forgive the interruption, but I've urgent news. The Forum is holding a public assembly in the plaza outside, some sort of announcement. What is Father up to now? There's only one way to find out.
Order! Order, I say! I thank you all for gathering here on such short notice. This day we must speak of grave affairs and their implications for the future of Sharlayan, nay, of this very star. Said affairs concern all citizens. So we have called for a public assembly. You may have heard rumors of the Talopheroi and the havoc these madmen wreak abroad. Under normal circumstances, we would pay little heed to petty disturbances outside our borders. The final days, however, are another matter altogether. For we dare not ignore these prophetic words of Eld. The End-Bearers will come, ushering chaos and calamity. The final days descend and devour the very star.
I've never heard this prophecy.
Is it true? Will all that really happen?
Calm yourselves. The time has come to speak of the Forum's most sacred duties. But first...
Give voice to the voiceless. Let bindings be unbound. By unanimous decree, I declare the enchantment broken.
Master Leveilleur, if you would.
Very well. "270 years ago, our forebears began an expedition in the Dravanian hinterlands, in search of a route to access the ethereal sea. This much is public knowledge. Their findings, however, would become the Forum's most closely guarded secret. What those researchers discovered in the hinterlands was not a passage unto the ethereal sea, but the very heart of our star, and Hydaelyn herself. She spoke to them of a calamity that would extinguish all life, and of a means by which we might be spared. The moon. 'Tis in truth a gargantuan vessel built to serve as sanctuary for her children, and deliver them from this doom. Much like Nunkref's hope in ages past, it will bear the people of a world in the throes of death to a new home.
Needless to say, this will be no small undertaking. To facilitate the great work, the Forum has maintained close contact with the servants of Hydaelyn, who presently reside on the moon. Convinced that the foretold end was all but inevitable, we began amassing a wealth of knowledge, not merely for the betterment of our nation, but in preparation for the journey to come.
You reveal this to us now? By the gods, how long do we have?
While we cannot say with certainty, we believe the hour to be nigh. We received a transmission from the moon suggesting as much not long ago. Which is why we must in earnest begin preparations for the great exodus. For his impressive contributions, and the leadership he demonstrated during our withdrawal from Dravania, we have elected Master Leveilleur to oversee this initiative.
Fellow scribes and scholars, my countrymen, we face a threat of unprecedented scale. We must challenge the trials before us with composure and conviction if we are to find salvation. The wisdom of Sharlayan has ever been a shining beacon in the darkness, and so it shall continue to be. It is our solemn charge to see our heritage preserved for future generations. For those who will come after, we will brave a new frontier.
Administrative edicts will be relayed to all major institutions ere long. In the meantime, carry on with your duties. With that, I hereby call this assembly to a close.
Do you remember what Mother told us when we visited home? That it wasn't until after we were born that Father seemed to lose himself in his work. If that great work of his was the evacuation of this star, then...
Yes. It wasn't for his benefit. Would you mind waiting here a moment? I wish to speak with Father before we leave. Thank you. I shan't be long.
If it's all the same to you, I have a few choice words to share with Father as well.
So, come to call us cowards and bid us join your fruitless battle against the inevitable.
Nay, we do not object to the Forum's proposal. On the contrary, those who wish to flee have every right to do so. Urianger is cooperating with your associates on the moon to ensure that all is ready should evacuation be our only recourse.
Then whatever your business, I suggest you be brief.
Though we cannot boast the boundless wisdom of Sharlayan, we have first-hand knowledge of foreign cultures and have conversed with no small number of peoples. These experiences have taught us fundamental truths that cannot be recorded in any tome, nor charted on any map. The beating heart of this planet is its people, many of whom would give anything, even their lives, to protect the lands they love. Many may choose to join you in the end. But what of those unwilling or unable, for whom escape will never be an option? What would you have them do? To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, Father. It is indolence. This is why we choose to fight.
We'll not ask for your understanding, Father. Only that you don't turn a blind eye to the good we have done, that we can still do. We're not children in need of protection. Hold fast to your principles and let the world burn if it please. But we believe there is still another way. And if there is, we will find it. You see if we don't.
Do as you will. Just stay out of our way.
Were he not so consumed with self-righteousness, he might tell you how proud he is of you both.
Bold words call for bold action. And there'll be no turning to your father should plans go awry.
As if I ever would. So long as there are those who wish to stay and fight for this star, we have to do what we can to help them.
And if we're to do that, we'll need to be well rested. Wouldn't you agree? And having triumphed over what we once thought to be the source of all evil, I can think of no one in greater need of at least a dozen winks.
Shall we then? To the Annex, to prepare for tomorrow.
Cal tells me the Forum made a rather momentous announcement, so there's to be a great exodus, is there? I'm reminded of my narrow escape from the Isle of Val, the realization running, the mixture of relief and regret after. Why me, I ask myself, why me? Why us? Why now? Why wonder? There's no use fretting over the cosmic morality or lack thereof. We're here, and we'll get through this together. And who knows, maybe my luck will rub off and grant everyone a narrow escape. There's no harm in praying for as much. Oh, but enough of my ramblings. I'm sure you're exhausted. Your chamber awaits. Uh-oh. Who is it tonight? A visitor has come knocking at your door. Whoever could it be? Moral choice in moral choice in gaming. Moral choice in gaming. Oh no. Oh my god. Moral choice in gaming.
Oh, apologies. I didn't mean to... If you could spare a moment before bed. Thank you. I fear this may be the last quiet night we have to talk for quite some time. I am troubled of late. Unwarranted concerns, perhaps. I hope. Nevertheless, I feel compelled to share them with you. Though you have bested your enemies thus far, Xenos and even Zodiac, your victories have come at a considerable cost to yourself. No one is without their limits, and you are no exception. I worry the added weight of the final days will prove more than you can bear. It is surely too much for any one woman. But you needn't bear it alone. Let me share your burden. My, carrying capacity pales in comparison to yours, but I could still help. Shoulder the occasional satchel from your ever-growing mountain of, baggage. You have already done so much to help relieve me of mine own encumbrances. 'Tis only fair that I repay you in kind. Of course, it needn't be only troubles we share. Moments of joy may seem few and far between now, but there will come a time when we look back fondly on this journey. The inquiry at the Forum, our march through the snows of Garlemald, our impromptu dinner in this very room. All of it. And that is to say nothing of the journeys yet to come. To the ends of the world and beyond. But tomorrow will be no less busy than today, and I've kept you from your rest long enough. Sleep well, my friend.
Thank you, Graha. A short while earlier in the Alamegan quarter. X-Run! Hey, wait.
Thank the gods that tower is gone. The sight of it was enough to make me sick.
Thank the Ilsebar contingent, more like. Word is, they fought their way into Garlemald and toppled the bloody thing themselves. Not just the one, neither. All the towers have up and vanished.
Aye, I heard the same. Commander Aldin and his troops helped keep casualties to a minimum, too. But is it true they brought back tempered Garlean soldiers?
Oh. Wait. Okay, so... in the final days of Amarot, their creation magic was what was running amok. And Alphado made a comment that we don't have creation magic. So what is going to run amok on our final days? And I remember the whole conversation about the power of emotions, right? That is absolutely the theme of this expansion, and I realize now the emotions, the feelings and stuff, it's clicking in my brain. I'm figuring out that's what's gonna run amok for us. Everyone's emotions are gonna run high. This is gonna be interesting.
As Commander Aldin tells it, they've a treatment for that now. But don't you worry. Cured or not, they've no plans to bring them into the city proper.
I see. Well, that's a relief then. I know we've brothers and sisters among the lot, but I can't say I'm eager to welcome them home.
Wanted to think about it for a while yet. But to be looked after in Alagana for the time being.
The power of emotion is gonna run amok. My love for Graha is going to destroy the world. Meanwhile in Ishgard, fear, I'm scared. What's wrong in Ishgard? Oh, hello.
Another day, another commission of paramount importance. Well, what have we here? Hey, are you all right? Was that? No. The shadows play tricks, nothing more. The towers are gone, and the Garlean threat is abated. And yet, why does it feel as though it's about to get much, much worse?
Okay, this is really piquing my interest. I'm really interested to see where this goes. I'm in. I'm back in. 100%. I am so eager to see where this goes. But obviously, before I go and see where this goes, I have to go back and rewatch this cutscene to see what the other characters have to say, because I care about all these characters so much. So I'm just gonna go down the list and watch all these cutscenes. These characters mean so much to me. How couldn't I? I have to see this.
I hope I didn't wake you. I pray you will forgive the unannounced visit, but I wish to speak with you before retiring for the night. About Garlemald, and the time we spent with the people of Tertium. Dangerous though it was, I'm glad we had the opportunity to treat with Euless and Quintus. I was worried what might happen after we were collared. If they attempted to restrain you too. If they succeeded. Once more, I put you in harm's way. And for that, I must apologize. Or rather, I should thank you for trusting in me time and time again. After all our journeys together, I dare say I've used every expression imaginable to convey to you my gratitude. Nevertheless, I hope these words of mine still carry some small weight. Tomorrow, our fight continues. Mayhap it would have been better to seek you out after we have true cause for celebration. But having mustered the courage to stand up to Father and achieve a personal victory of sorts, I wanted to carry on in that spirit before my nerves got the better of me. The hour grows late, and you doubtless tire of my ramblings. I have a letter for Orenvold to finish, but we'll be off to bed shortly. Sleep well.
Thank you, Alphonel. You've been here for me since the very beginning, and we've been through so much together. Thank you.
Craving a midnight snack, were you? I did consider bringing a few sweets, but decided this wasn't an appropriate occasion. I couldn't sleep. Had a few things on my mind. I know it's late, so I'll try not to talk your ear off. It's Xenos. I keep thinking back to Garlemald when he'd taken control of your body. An altogether terrifying experience, to say the least. And one that served as a harsh reminder. No one, no matter how strong or quick or clever, is invincible. Not even you. And as much as it might seem at times that you are, one misstep, one mistake, and that's that. Which is why, even though I know you've heard it 1,000 times before, I'm going to tell you to take better care of yourself. Because you really, really should. It goes without saying that we're all committed to this fight. But that doesn't mean that we need to throw our lives away. You know how I feel about noble sacrifices. Right, that's settled. We'll be keeping the acts of gratuitous bravado to a minimum. When I looked Father in the eye and swore we'd find a way to avert this tragedy, it wasn't a promise just for him. It was a promise for you, too.
Well, let's see.
Evening. I hoped you hadn't crawled beneath the covers just yet. If you'll indulge me for a moment, I have a favor to ask. Don't worry. Nothing desperate or dire, if that's what you were wondering. Not yet. You know, we may have quite literally entered our final days. The ancients went so far as to call it that for a reason. If so, then everything we did for Reem, for the first, will have been meaningless. And I can't accept that. I just can't. My mind won't allow for the possibility. And that could be a problem. When we're in the thick of it, I don't know if I've got it in me to be pragmatic this time. To run, even if running's the right choice. The only choice. So if you see me turning a blind eye to the harsh reality, beat some sense into me, would you? I trust you and the other Scions with my life. And I'd like to think the feeling is at least occasionally mutual. And I never forgive myself if my stubbornness put them in danger. Gods, listen to me. Beginning to sound like the father I never had.
Well, that's what happens when you become a dad, Thancred.
So, can I count on you to keep me in line? I can think of no one else more eminently qualified. Excellent. Now I can breathe a bit easier. Which isn't to say that I will, given what we're up against. Let's keep this little chat our secret. I'd rather not have anyone scolding us for burning the midnight oil.
You're still awake. Good. Might I trouble you to stand still for a moment? Nothing appears out of the ordinary. A precautionary measure. You will recall that serving as a vessel for abundant light in the First very nearly ended poorly. In your recent battle on the Moon, you were almost certainly exposed to similar, if not greater, forces. Fortunately, from what I can see, you and your ether are none the worse for wear. Would that Reen were here to confirm my assessment. To think you actually found yourself in a direct confrontation with Zodiac. As if Xenos gallivanting about in your body was not misfortune enough. Did you so grossly offend every single deity in a past life that they saw fit to place a curse upon your soul? Forgive me. That was in poor taste. I recall vividly how battered and broken it was in the depths of Amarant. Would that you could have seen it with your own eyes. Mayhap then you would understand why the greater part of me is glad you did not. It was a horror beyond description. Promise me you will be careful. That you will seek my counsel if you feel unwell.
Oh, Y'shtola.
That puts my heart at ease, if only a touch. I suspect it will grow colder as the night wears on, so do be sure to stay warm. Sleep well. May the shadows keep you.
Thank you, Y'shtola. My first friend. Now here comes the Heavensward theme that makes me cry instantly. Oh, casual.
You're alone. Good.
Oh, Estidian. His hair's down too. This is super casual, Estidian.
The twins thought now would be a wonderful time to pay a visit to my chambers. Rather than listen to them bicker over tonight's snacks and tomorrow's plans, I seized the first opportunity to make my escape. To their credit, they decided against intruding on your peace and quiet. Can all be a bit exhausting at times, can't it? I wasn't sure what to make of you at first. During the Dragon Song War, how quick you were to take up a cause not your own. But I came to see that is simply the way of you and yours. I will not pretend to understand this talk of ancient primals and the final days, but I trust in your judgment and choose to believe in your cause. You and Alphino have my lance, now and always. You'll need it. Rack and ruin looming on the horizon. Calamity bearing down upon us. There's no place I'd rather be than here. Standing shoulder to shoulder with friends on the front line. So do not hesitate to send me against your enemies. I'll make them rue the day they met me. Now, if you'll excuse me, I could do with a little air.
In my
If
room?
Alphino asks, I was never here.
Estidian! my god. Goodbye. Wow. Wow. Wow, just wow at all of those cutscenes. Just wow. Estinian though. Estinian though. Estinian though.